Afternoon everybody, and how are you? My name's Iris Smith and I'm the owner of a small business called The Flower Patch, where I make beautiful artificial flower arrangements for all occasions. Welcome guys, welcome. It's lovely to have you join me. I hope you're all right and you've been rather busy creating some wonderful arrangements for yourself to sell, or even just for family members. Doesn't matter. I'm sure they're all beautiful. Right, today I'm gonna do I've gone and got another one of these glass containers, and I've placed in some I have sheets of birch wood that I've had years, and you know they've come in a really big pack, so I've got lots left. And I've placed some styrofoam in and covered it in wreath wrap, and we're going to do an arrangement today in that. I've also taken apart a 10-inch grapevine wreath. I've not used all of the grapevine, I've just used some, and I've tightened it to try and make it slightly smaller but airy, and I've done two. And I've put a bit of the wire that came around the grapevine just to hold it in, you know, a couple of places so it doesn't, you know, come undone. And I've left some where it's really wispy and things like that and airy. And what I'm wanting to do is put them both in the arrangement and do an actual table arrangement around them. So that's my challenge. It just came up. I just was going through things and I'd got one 10-inch grapevine wreath left, and I sat there thinking about it and thought, I'm going to take it apart. And that's when it came into mind, if I do it in a, you know, make them smaller and do it in a container with, I guess, some autumn colours. Right. I've been into my leftover box as well. I thought I'd raid that and let's try and get a few bits gone. So I've got out the eucalyptus. I may not use this, I don't know yet. It may be too bushy, but I've got out the last probably 4 or 5 little stems that I've cut down. I've got out this Tradescantia as well. Some of these this is out of the, not my leftover bucket, but I do have some oddments in here that I've cut down and placed back in because I didn't need to use them when I did a project. I've gone into my leftover bucket and found lots of bits of ivy because I love ivy. So I thought we could trail a bit around the grapevine wreath, have it climbing up. So we've got that. And then I've also got out my oriental vine, and this has got oddments in where I've cut them down and not used. I thought I may you know, wind a few of these around the grapevine as well, or something along those lines. I went in it as well in my bucket, my leftover bucket, and found them. I called this tarragon I think last week. It's not tarragon, it's it's raven foliage. And I've got some in like a, I'd say it's more like a mustardy colour. But I thought we could use that. This odd one where it's come off of there. So if it's not in here, then we'll just alter it. I've also got out some oddments of my, what I've placed back in with the thistle or the sea holly. So I thought I'd use some of those with it as well. Now these were right at near the bottom. These little pieces of leftovers. I can remember creating some point last year some picks, and I've found 3. They're not, I think 2 of them may be slightly identical when I created them myself, but this one's just slightly different. It's got these seed heads in instead of the berries, but it's still got the baby gerbera and the deep red ranunculus flower in. So I may incorporate those. I'm not sure about those yet, but I got those out. And then I found 3 little strands of the brown eucalyptus, and I thought, well, I could just pop those in somewhere, you know, let's use them more. With us having the raven, it goes lovely with that, so I thought I could drop them in somewhere. I did get out of my box or bucket what I've got on my racking system, some lotus heads or pods. I may just be placing 3, but I've got 5 out, you know, just in case I change my mind. And then I found in my leftover buckets, I've got lots of things, guys. I'm inundated with leftovers. I need to go through them and start using them. But I've got some of the raspberries. I know we've got the red ranunculus, but nothing else I've got in red. But I thought I could just use this as, you know, adding in for a different bit of texture and slightly a little bit of colour. I did get out my apples, and they're like a lemon or a yellow with green tone to them as well. I can remember placing these on picks, but I didn't use them all. Now for our floral, I've got out some very pale lemon roses, and I've also got out the ranunculus. I was looking and I couldn't quite make my mind up which one I wanted in. I may place both, I'm not quite sure, but that's all we're going to use today. Obviously I'm not going to use absolutely everything, but we'll go through what we've got. But first of all, I want to see if I can get these attached into the styrofoam by using some, you know, floral pins to hold them down. And I may need to just place in a pick or something to keep it in place so it doesn't move as well. So I'm just going to bring the camera down, guys, so one moment. So let's come in a little. I have to make sure it's not too close because it can take out some of what we're doing. Right, so now we've got our container ready. I've got out my floral pins, and I think one's slightly bigger than the other, yeah. So I'm going to try and work where if I was looking at it, and have the bigger one at the back, and I'm thinking of having it slightly to one side there, and then have the other one like that. Or I could have it horizontal, or I may have them just both like that. But I definitely want this one at the back at an angle. So I'm going to dip my floral pin in my glue pan, and I'm going to go through the grapevine and push it in just to hold it in place. I'm going to put 2 or 3 floral pins in because I don't want it to move. Let's get the glue. I may place one along the back here as well, just to keep that in its position. And then I'll do the same with the one which I want at the front. So let me just see. Yeah, I think I'm going to, I may have it like that actually. I'm going to do them both at an angle. If I had a longer container, I would have spread them out a little bit more. But I haven't got a longer one. I could have done with something like a 3-foot one. That would have been good. So I'm just going to do the same with here and bring one around the back as well. And I'm going to get just a normal pick that I use, and I'm going to do a U-bend at the top because it's slightly, I've got make it longer. So I'm going to cut it. So I've got more of a length to place in and hold it. And I'm going to go over the center. Push that right down so that one stays in place. And I'm going to do the same with the other one. So if you haven't got any floral pins, this is what you could do. Let me just get my pliers to give me a helping hand to push it in. It needs to go in. There we are. So they're secure and ready to be used. So what I want to do is get some of my ivy. I don't like to throw anything away, so I do save things like this, and for projects that I could use for anything really. So I'm going to just cut it. Oops. Because they're not extremely long. So we're going to first of all start around here at the back. Just place it in. Oh, it's got something on that leaf. And then just weave it in and out. So it looks like it's climbing up. I do want to bring some and cover like the inside as well. But I want to try and, do I bring it? Yeah, I'm going to bring one on the end. So let's just cut that stem. And I'm going to go actually through the grapevine as well. That's leaving that little bit in. And I'm going to bring some of our foliage through. So we've got it like climbing up like this. I'm leaving these strands of the grapevine. If they do bother you, just, you know, pop them in with the rest. Let's have a look at how long we've got pieces. Well, this is quite a long one. I don't want it to be too, I'm not looking on having it too big. But you know me, guys, I go away, I get a bit carried away sometimes. So I think I'd like something, you know, some of the ivy sitting along the part. You know what I've just thought about as well? Now I've got my moss pins here. I may as well, near the end, grab some pieces of moss and have those, just some hanging over at the front, just to give it a bit more of a, I think I might do that, different textures. So I'm going to place in this long piece across the center. If you've got just any container what's long and rectangle, it doesn't have to be a glass one. And I think, and if you feel that it's sticking up like this one, again, get a floral pin and just hold it down, because I don't want it sticking too far up. So have we got any smaller pieces I could bring around the back? Yeah. So I'm going to bring this smaller piece just around the back to cover this area here. So I'm going to let that, some of it go like, I may actually bring a leaf through the grapevine as well. Let's bring it lower. So we've got that little piece at the back also. I'll keep hold of these. Gosh, I've still got a lot left. I will keep hold of these, and just in case I want to add a few more. So we'll place those there. Now I want to get the, cracky, that's a big piece. That is a big piece. Some of this as well. I want to make it slightly rustic, so I just something what looks slightly more natural. I'm going to cut that down a little bit. It's a bit too long. And I'd like to, let's have a look. I know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to cut it a little bit more. Oh, it's caught on there. I'm going to bring it like in here, and then have it just hanging above. We all know vine, it goes anywhere, any direction. So we'll bring those two actually going that way. And then let that one just hang over our, you know, over to the side, but slightly higher, just to give it that movement. So let's get some smaller pieces. I'm going to place them through the grapevine. Let's just move these are push-ups as well, so you can manipulate the leaves to however long you'd like them, or high up the stem. So I brought one along the front as well here. I've got some really little pieces. Let's get this one in at the back as well. Maybe just slightly coming out. I think I need one somewhere around here at the front. So have we got, that's a bit long, I can't really use that. I've got two really odd pieces here, so I could place those in. Yeah, so let's just cut those down a little. Let's make one look like it's slightly turning upwards. So I'm not going to place any more in of that either. Oh, actually, I've got that loose one there, so I may place that one in. Maybe in the centre. So let's get that one and pop it with the ivy down here. And have that coming out. I could wrap a little piece around the grapevine as well. So I've done that. Let me just pop that out of the way. I don't really think I'm going to need these eucalyptus with them being quite bushy. No, they're too big because it's not a very big container. So I'll place these back in my leftover bucket. Right, let's have a look at the Tradescantia. Again, I want to be adding my foliage in first. I want just slightly different, not really texture, because they are really quite similar to each other, but just different, what's the word, guys? Slightly different pattern, like the ivy's got its own vein. Tradescantia, it looks like that. Excuse me. And then the vine is just plain. So different tones of green. can't get it. Oh, that's a new stem. I'm going to bring one around here somewhere at the front. And I'm also going to do the same at the back. I want this to be slightly more of a natural arrangement where it's not, I don't know what the word is. I can't think of the word, guys. I've gone silly again today. I keep saying it must be my age. No, I don't like that there. So we're going to leave that one out. Perhaps place one there. We're going to cut the stem shorter. I don't think these have got really much wiring. So if I use this last one, do I bring it? I may bring it there at the front. In fact, let's pull them off and place them on picks. Just the leaves so they're separated and they're not as a cluster. So I'm going to just pop these one there. I'm going to cut them a little shorter. And I'm going to bring one oops, a daisy. I'm just looking if it looks a bit too busy. Where it is, that's like making it look busy. I feel it maybe around here. I don't know. Let me just have another look. What's this? Yes, it was that, and is it that? Yeah, and that one. So I'm going to cut these two off. So just lift that slightly. I think this Tradescantia at the front, the big one, I think it's sticking out too far. So let's push it in a little bit more. Right. So I don't want no more Tradescantia as of yet. I'm just a bit intrigued about the picks. Oh, I quite like that. I quite like that one there, guys. You know, just sitting across, horizontal at the back like that. And then maybe one just at the front. I may not need two, but three. Seems to be that one seems to fit better. Yeah, so I may not need three. So I'm going to place in that at the back, or do I place it at the front instead? I think it looks better at the back. So we're going to place this in after all. Just trying to bend the stem of the Gerbera. I'm going to take a leaf off, that one's in the way. So I'm going to have that like that, and then I'm going to bring the other one along the front and in the sort of similar position where it's placed in at a diagonal position. And just have that one there at the front. If I need the other one, I may get it. We'll see as we go along. Now I've got these 3 pieces of eucalyptus. I'm going to bring one on the end at the front. Oh, they've not got any picks on. Let's get a pick on it. And then please one in here, just to give it a bit of the different coloured foliage, contrast against the other green foliage. And I'm going to bring one around the back as well. So we've got that at the back also. Now, let me think. I'll place the moss in last. I'm going to just place in some roses and have these in, and then work around with the rest of our elements. So I'm going to place one right on the end there, going to bring one in side the wreath at the front. And I'm going to also bring one down at the bottom as well, where the pick is at the front. I've brought one leaning outwards to one side. I feel we may need one on the corner, right on the end. I've got a couple of buds here, so I could add these buds in. What I'm going to do with the bud, I'm going to place it through the grapevine and have it sitting with the ivy growing up the grapevine. I can just bend it into place like that. So I can do that, and then maybe, let's have a look, bring this one slightly lower down than that one, so they're not both on the same height. Stagger them, you know, and make them different sizes. So we're going to go on the end here, make it look like that one's not as quickly grown to the top as that one. So I do feel we're going to need a rose on the end here, and I'm going to push it quite far in. So I've got that triangle position, and then I think I'm going to do I place it with that? Yeah, so I'm going to place that one on the back as well. Lower down also like that. So do I need one more maybe? Yeah, we're going to bring one more in, and we're going to place that one on the end here as well. And I'm going to push that one in as far as I can get it. So I don't need no more of the last two. Now I'm wanting, let's have a look at these berries, if I can get them off. I feel that by placing something like the berries in, it gives it that sort of like natural look just by adding in a few berries. So I think I'm going to do that with, I don't know whether I'm going to use them all. I know what I'm, let's get this one in. So I'm going to need to go under our rose. I'm going to take that Tradescantia out because it really is in the way. So I'm going to have those like there, and then I'm thinking of having one maybe coming up here on the opposite side. So let's do that. I think that looks quite effective. Just behind that rose, like that. I have got two more. They are quite long. I could cut that stem down. I'm going to take that leaf off because it's in the way. And then I'm going to place one at the back. Again, bring it round the back. As well, and have that hanging out round the back. I don't want another one, so we'll place that there. Now we have our apples as well, so I'm going to be placing those in. I don't think I need the ranunculus now, no. And then we've got our raven. We could just add a few bits of that. I'm just checking, guys, to see. I may add a few bits of those. So we're not going to need any more ivy either. And then we have also the thistle. I forgot about the thistle. I may put the odd one in, but not too many. So let's get some apples. Sit some with, you know, the berries. Some apples that are just starting to, where has it gone? To form or grow, should I say, not form. So bring those along the front, the back, or front, should I say? Oh gosh. And I'm going to bring one tall with that berry there at the back. So I brought that one climbing up. I may have to just get a little bit of wire and hold this berry up because it is very heavy. Excuse me, I'm going to place one of the apples where the pick is at the back here and in between the rows here where that little gap is. Now I'm wondering whether to just bring, I may bring one, a bud or new growth. I've got a bit of wire here. So I'm going to just grab, let's see where I do it, around here. I'm just placing a bit of wire around the grapevine. I'm not going to be tightening this so it's really tight. I still want it to have the movement, but I'm just using it to keep it in position so it doesn't keep just flopping over. So I may need to use a leaf of something to hide the mechanics, because I can see the mechanics. Right, I'm going to put this in. There. So we've got that at the back, so now it's not moving. Me bring an apple down here in the right in the corner underneath the pick as well, just down there. I've got two left, I may as well use them. I'm going to put one with the berries on here as well on the back. I'm going to go through the grapevine again, and that will also hold the grapevine in position by just popping through your stem through the grapevine itself. Yeah, so we've got apples all the way around. Oops. I'm going to put a lotus head under here, where that it needs, you know, just something in that gap between the rose and the end, but something slightly larger so it just doesn't look gappy. So you fill that gap there. And I feel we may need to do that at the front as well. So let's do that one there. Oops, let me re-glue this in, it's a little bit loose. There we go. So I'm going to do the same on this side as well. With the pickers, bring one there. I feel I could just bring a smaller lotus head up a little bit. Again, maybe just pop it through the grapevine. Can't see where this, just bend the stem a little bit. So we've got that there. I'm going to pop one on the back as well. Through the grapevine here. Like that. I've got one left. Yeah, I'm going to bring it higher. And we're going to bring it where the apple and the rose is on the end, just there. So we've used all those. Doesn't that look wonderful? If you've got any, you know, it's a good thing as well, guys, if you've got any 10-inch, like, you know, I used to practice on 10-inch grapevine wreaths to do when I was, oh gosh, many years young. But I used to practice on them. That's what my tutor used to say. Get a 6, 8 or 10-inch wreath. Use those to practice on, to build your confidence. If you start off on a 6 and you know you can do it, move on to an 8-inch grapevine, and if you can do that, then move on to a 10-inch. You know, this is not during coursework when I was at university. This was when we was at home and we needed to practice on things instead of wasting big wreaths and things like that. She always used to say, try the smaller ones first and do your practice on those, and I highly recommend that. But then if you do that, guys, and you have got some 10-inch wreaths left where you have been practicing on, get those out and do what I did, take it apart. It's, you know, really helpful, you know, and it saves you wasting a big wreath at all, you know, or use it in any sort of decor. Or if you haven't, but you've got twigs, oh, I think that's too much, and you have twigs, then you know, use the twigs also. Oh, that one's broke now. You know, and incorporate twigs. I think I'm going to dot a few around. I'm not going to use a whole bunch. I'm going to just dot a few heads around. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me grab another one off of here. Make that 5. So yes, that'd be a great, you know, a great idea if you've got some old wreaths that you've practiced on, or you've done a 10-inch wreath and it's either not sold or you've hung it in your home and you've sort of, I don't know, if you're like me, you go off it after a while and you think, oh, I want a different colour, and I've took them apart myself and cleaned the wreath out and everything, removed all the glue, and then I've used a bigger wreath and something else. Or if you're just cleaning it out, but what, you know, use that old wreath that you've got, that wreath base. Again, they're very handy for practicing or adding in. It's one way to use to add into your arrangements an old wreath base, grapevine wreath, to use it instead of, you know, it just sitting there and you don't do nothing with it. So let's cut some of these. Yeah, they're better off where they're just smaller, guys. And I'm going to just add a few in. I'm going to cut them down because I don't want them long. So we've got them cut short. So I don't need that one. And again, I'm going to incorporate some in and at the side. I'm going to bring one down here. I still feel there's something needed here. I'll probably bring a thistle there as well. Yeah, definitely. And I'll bring one just up the side there. And then I'm also going to bring one in there, just slightly lower. So we've done, excuse me, that. So I wanted to bring a thistle amongst these here in the corner because I feel that it still needs something. So I'm going to just incorporate the thistle. It may even need a bit of green. I think looking at it, it may need a bit of green. Could we use some ivy? Is that a small piece? Yeah, we'll use that piece. I think because it's like all like the brown tones and you know the autumnal tones around here, there's nothing green under here, and it's where the lotus head is and things like that, so it's looking slightly alone and or unfinished, as I always usually say, because it doesn't look like I've thought about that area. So if something looks too much of one tone, especially like I've done with the browns, and I can't get that in, add some more, a little bit of greenery just to break it up. And I'm going to bring I still think that's in the wrong place. What I'm going to do is take the top piece off and pull it out, grab a pick, and then I'll have better control of where I'm placing it. So I'm just going to place this under the lotus. There you go. It's just by adding a little bit of green if it's looking too bland. Always makes a little difference. And I think it's similar thing around here on this side as well. I'm just looking. There is a little bit of green from the berries, but it's where these are. They're all the same tone again. So I may have to try and do it, you know, do the same thing again. Oh, here's a small piece. And incorporate foliage again to break that up. So we've got another small piece of ivy. Yeah. So we'll break that up again like we did on the opposite side. I'm just adding a little bit of greenery in colour. Excuse me. Right, let's get these in. I'm not going to need those. So I'm going to dot a few of these around as well. Let's go through the grapevine there. see a little bit of the popping up. I'm going to bring one in the centre, but I'm not having it as tall. It's just so you can see. Let's have a look around here. We're going to need one in here. Let's just bend that a little. I'm going to add one in where the berries are down here at the bottom as well, under the back. Just here I've placed one. Sorry that you can't see me placing them in, guys. I just have to... I'm going to put one there. I may place that on a taller pick if I can get them off. Crikey. I'm going to incorporate these, that one in there. So we've done that. So now I still have a bit of a gap in the centre. I don't know if you can see if I lift it. There's still quite a big gap here. Where I can see the foam when I look above it. And I don't really want to alter the look of it. And I think if anything that we're going to place in there is going to have to be the foliage. I mean, I do have that other pick, don't I? I could place the other pick right down there and that will cover that gap. Let me just cut the stem a bit. So I think it needs to be going. Let me just around here. I'm going to bring a bit of the floral on that side. If it looks too as I say, tight and compact, which something's bothering me, I don't really, if you look at it, it looks a bit too squeezed in, so to speak. Oh, I've just gone, and I don't really, no, something's just not right. Let's take that out. Now, can I made these into picks, so I'm sure I can take them apart. I pull. Oh my gosh, guys, oh, there we go, there's one. If I place them in singular instead, I'm just going to have a look. I think the red looks quite nice on its own. Let's just get the ranunculus in to start with. And then I'm just checking to see whether, because I don't want the same colours really next to each other, as you know, so to speak. Let me just stand above. Yeah, I think have to be that. So we'll place the berry in as well, right along here where the gap is. So with it having the bigger leaves on as well, that's going to cover the gap. There's just that one there. I can't get this one up. Let's cut it. And then I'm going to place this piece in here where I can see a small gap. But I'm going to push that one right down. Now, concerning the wispy bits, I think now I can see where I'd like them. So I'm going to stick in a few more of the vine. And I definitely would like one coming out, just coming out there. Let me just grab a few pieces here. I think out the side here, as you're looking at it on your left, I think it would look nice there. I know we've got this here, but here it's just the floral, as you can see. There's not really, when I mean movement, I mean things like your airy and wispy pieces. I think it needs a bit of movement there. Let's see. I'm going to keep them together, I think. I'm just going to shorten the stem. Like that. Just have another look and make sure there's a leaf dropped off of that one. Yeah, I'm going to bring it out under the yellow rose here, sticking out. Let's see, I don't want it sticking out too much. I think that's a bit low. So let's pull it back out. So I'm going to go here instead. We'll bring that one slightly. Yeah, and I'm going to, I think with I think, I forget which is, this is the front. I may bring one up here so the vine doesn't look like I'm creating an asymmetrical shape. I want it to be all around, so So I may, I'm just trying to make more of a natural, let's see, this has got 4 pieces on. So I may cut that one off. So don't be frightened to bring all airy bits and, you know, lovely wispy bits or twiggy bits out. Or yeah, it's going there. Something's just drawing me into it, guys. And I'm going to let that also just go up a little. So you've got airy bits everywhere. I'm going to turn that one slightly so it just doesn't look like it's all going the vine that way, because just looking at it, it looks like it's all one way. And I've got these smaller pieces I could bring. Again, they all push up, so I could bring those on the side at the bottom. So then that piece is coming outwards, and I've got a tiny little piece here. I'm going to bring that and just use that piece up at the front. Make that come out. So I do have the Gerbera left. I could bring it down here where, yeah, I'm going to put it there where I've just been placing that vine. There we go. Let's have a look. Yeah. Now I do have the moss, but now I've virtually covered up. There's only the odd bit underneath that I can see, like where the berries are here. There's a bit of a gap there. So what I will do, and again, I don't mind the moss hanging over. It gives it that lovely natural look. And I'm going to be placing a little bit of moss underneath. I will show you in a moment, guys. I need to be able to push it in, but you'll barely see it, but it's just there, hanging over the side. Can you see? I lift it. It's just hanging over the side there. I don't mind that. That adds, again, a little bit of different texture. You could even place a little bit of moss. Let's place a bit on the actual wreath. So I'm going to glue it on if I'm placing it on the wreath. Just to give that, again, bit of a natural look. I mean, use your glue gun, guys. I've not switched mine on. I've got to just put a bit more glue on before it drops. I'm putting a bit of glue onto the actual grapevine and then just pressing the moss onto it. So let's do the same up here. Just put a little bit of moss. That can go hanging down there. Oops, nearly put the glue in the moss bucket. Let's have a look. I feel a little piece. Get some dark tone. I've got dark, oh man, dark and light, like a limey green. This is reindeer moss that I'm using. You can use Spanish moss, you know. So again, I'm just sticking little pieces. Just like that. I've only just stuck little pieces. I'm going to do it at the back as well. And I'm going to just stick the odd piece onto the grapevine at the back. And also it's good for covering your mechanics, because I've got a bit of wire holding the grapevines together. So I've got a bit there of the grapevine, so where the wire is. So we'll place a little bit over that mechanics as well. And I'm just dabbing it on. I'm not, you know, placing it in any particular way. And I've got a piece there as well. So this is a good thing to add on to something like this. Let's just add that bit there, cover that. So I think there's another piece under here that I want to go with. A similar situation to the berries at the front where I placed the moss. I'm going to put a dark piece in. I don't want it that big. And again, let it hang over. And then there's one on the corner I'm going to place as well. Just where I had that little bit of area where it was just the browns. Just place a little bit of moss in there. So I'm not going to add any more. So let's just get rid of all this. So guys, if you've got any, again as I stated, old wreaths that you'd you know, you've practiced on, or that you've taken things apart from it and it's become a bit loose or worn because you may have used it many times and taken things apart from it, do them, take the wire off, add a little bit of, you know, I mean, I shortened those, I made them slightly tighter so you could keep them the same size. And then just get a container, something like this, add in your grapevines, and I did spread them, but I did pull them, once I put the little wire on, guys, I did pull them apart to open them up a little bit more so they wasn't tight. And get a container. Let me bring the camera up and place something. I keep treading on those. You know, place some lovely floral in. It doesn't have to be, you know, you could do one for Christmas. Get one ready for Christmas. I'll just bring it there. So get one ready for Christmas, or get, you know, or you can do one for Halloween. I keep standing on everything. Let me just lift all my things and place them here. And do them for, you know, Halloween, or even autumn, or an all year round one. You know, it doesn't mean to, you know, that you've got grapevine in. It's got to just be for a certain season. You could create one what's for all year round. That would be pretty. And, you know, if you want to do one where it's got more floral in, you know, that's fine, guys. You can do that. Or if you want it to look a bit more like twiggy, you know, like I've got the wispy bits and a bit more, I'm trying to think of the word, a bit more like natural, you know, where everything's everywhere, and like you've got berries incorporated with the flowers, you've got the apples incorporated with the, you know, the lotus heads, thistles, things like that. Add a little bit of fruit in. You could add blackberries in. You could basically just put in, you know, berries themselves. If you've got apples, I've got all sorts of fruits. I've got peaches, bananas, grapes. I was going to add in some grapes, but then I thought they may take most of the room up, and so I opted for the apples and the berries when I saw those in my leftover box. So I think that's turned out quite nice for just, you know, a table arrangement where you can have it on your dinner table. You don't really need it on a table, actually, guys. You could place it in your window, you know, with it being a 360 arrangement. The people who are walking by will probably spot it and think, oh, isn't that lovely? You know, they can see it from the back, which is that one, and then you get to see it from the front. So, or if you want it on a cabinet, you know, on your mantle, bottom of your stairs, on a little table, or on a cabinet at the bottom of your stairs, it doesn't matter, guys. I think even on your coffee table, it will look, it's one of those arrangements where you can place it anywhere. It will still look really pretty. It's quite an autumn one with the fruits and things like that, so we are bringing in, you know, the autumn colours. But I do, I'm all about going wacky, you know, wild with the wispy bits. I do like movement, guys. That's just my signature style, and I just like to see lots of, like, you know, like you would in the nature. You've got your, like the vine, it's one piece is going this way, this one's going up here, this piece is coming over here, one's going down. So it's like ivy as well. It just grows everywhere in all directions, and that's, you know, how I like to try my best to try and incorporate elements to look like it's something natural that you'd get on your garden. But I think that would make a lovely table centerpiece, or wherever it may be, guys, to bring in the autumn. And you could keep this out, actually, because it's got the lotus heads in and the apples, you know, the fruits, things like that, the ivy. You could, and roses are all year round, thistles and things like that, guys. You could even just keep it up for and place it on your dinner table for Christmas. Yes, the big C, guys, Christmas. And again, if you've got moss, just add a little bit of moss underneath or on top, like I've done around the little grapevines, instead of actually placing in any more foliage underneath. Just add a bit of moss and let it drape over. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and I hope it gives you a lovely idea to create something for either autumn or to display on, you know, all year round, or also to display on your Christmas table while eating your and celebrating your wonderful Christmas day. So again, please, you know, please give it a go and have fun. And, you know, you'll be really surprised when you just take apart a wreath how easily together they are put. And I just tightened it and made it smaller. And you can get some lovely woody bits like that. And again, if you haven't got any spare wreaths, go and get some twigs out your garden, guys, you know, from a shrub, or if you're walking in the forest or in the woods with your pets, you know, your dogs, and you find some branches on the floor, pick them up. Because over here in the UK, if there's fallen branches, you are allowed to take them. You're not allowed to saw trees down or anything like that. It's only things that have fallen on the ground you can take. So grab them while you can. Anyway, please subscribe, share and like, guys. To everybody you know, bring them along. Again, to learn how to or inspire, you know, people to have some wonderful ideas, to, you know, sort of like, as I used to say, when somebody gives me an idea, oh, they've switched on the light in my head. It's given me, you know, it's made me start thinking what I could do. So, yeah, it's a very good thing to do. Just by seeing somebody else's work, you may sit there and think, oh, I could add in something else. I could put in pine cones, or, you know, I could put in oranges if I wish, or orange slices, things like that, or, you know, but it's just giving you that first image of what you could do, and then the element side is down to you. So I'm sure you would make something really pretty. So please subscribe, share and like again, guys, and, you know, bring everybody along to come and enjoy the videos and have fun and learn some new ideas, or maybe send me some pictures, or, you know, to my email, which is theflowerpatch2401@gmail.com. And you may, again, as I say many times, inspire me with a creation you've done to give it a go myself. So have a wonderful day. Take care. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. And I love you all, guys. And keep your comments coming. Bye for now. Bye-bye. Let's just go and have a quick closer look, shall we, guys? Oh, I haven't pressed that button again. Lovely. So, there's our lovely berries, our little thistle, our lotus head, the rich, deep, dark ranunculus, just some oddments of brown eucalyptus, the Tradescantia, again the picks here that I made last year at some point with the berries, our wonderful little apples, our rosebuds there, and then our fall open rose, and then also, let's turn it around, the raven, the ivy, obviously the moss that we've just placed on, also obviously the vines that we have going there. And I don't know, is there anything different? Oh, we've got our Gerbera there, and then our little, again, our little grapevine wreaths, what were 10-inch, and I tried to get them down to about 8-inch, so I pulled them short, and then I just placed on a bit of, where you see the moss, there's a little bit of wire holding some of them together, and then I just opened it up with my hands around here and pulled it to one each, put my fingers in the middle and pulled it one piece to, a few pieces to the left, some to the right, just to open it up. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and I hope it's going to give you an idea to do something for yourself and have fun. So take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Bye bye.